provide us any updates on James' contract talks?
Yeah, we continue to talk. I can guarantee you this. We're 100% committed to James, and James is 100% committed to Penn State. So we're trying to get to the right place.
I know you're not obligated to release it, but any update on Cale Sanderson?
Yes. As you mentioned, we're obligated to announce and have board approval on athletic director of football and the 2 basketball coaches. The rest of them we're not, and will not make it a practice of that. But Cale and Penn State have executed a new long-term agreement.
How long is
We've executed a long-term agreement.
How much of a relief was that to get that done, given what he's done for Penn State?
Well, I mean, what Cale and our wrestling program has done is absolutely spectacular, but there was never an issue. There was never a concern. It was a matter of getting to the right place. Yeah, we're not going to, as a course of practice, give details on anything other than the 4 athletic department contracts that we're required to by.
When we see James and you see him from last year to this year, there's that air of confidence, and there's the different. What are some of the tangible differences that you've noticed as you walk around Big Ten Media Days this year as Penn State is the defending champion?
Well, first of all, that brings a big smile to all of our faces, right? Just so proud of James and the program and what those young men did last year was absolutely spectacular. Really proud of their confidence, how they go about their business, how our football staff goes about their business in terms of the community, academically, and then obviously the success we had on the field last year. That's what Penn State's all about. That's why students choose to come to Penn State. Frankly, that's why prospective employees come, because we want to be a part of that. We want to be a part of having it all. I'm so happy for James. This is, obviously I was a defender, if you will, early last fall, and I've probably said it to many of you. No, when I said what I said in September, I didn't necessarily at that point envision that we were going to go on a 9-game winning streak and win the Big Ten championship and go to the Rose Bowl. But I felt that was in our future. I just didn't think it was necessarily in our 3-month future. But really happy for James because this is what he's made of, and I think he's a perfect fit for Penn State and our values around academics, around community, around student development, and lastly, but certainly not least, around winning and excellence from a football perspective.
Sandy, where do football season tickets stand, and can you, in numbers, where are you at in terms of the increase from last year?
I believe that the number is somewhere between 6 and 7, higher than that.
8,000.
We're up incrementally 8,000 new season tickets over last year, which is tremendous. But again, given our success, given the way this community has embraced this program, not unexpected.
Where are you at in terms of fundraising? One of the things you mentioned when you released the facilities master plan was fundraising being the next step. Where are you at on that? There has been Ira Luber, I believe, made a donation. There have been some other ones that sort of pop out there. Where are you at? On schedule, behind, ahead?
I would say we're probably right on schedule. The university campaign is just finishing up its first year. We received a wonderful gift from Ken Panzer as it relates to our lacrosse stadium. We're doing fundraising feasibility along with Parallel, which I have talked about before, in terms of continuing through some design issues. We're not too full design, but around those first 5 projects in the 5-year. So we continue to go. We continue to talk about proposals. We continue to talk to donors. We're actually working through feasibility, but that doesn't mean things don't happen sometimes during feasibility.
What about revenue from the Happy Valley Jam? Do you have that in yet?
We don't have any numbers. I'm personally very pleased with the first concert. We learned a lot. I was there that night. I hope a lot of you all were as well. Just a great atmosphere. Blake was tremendous, and all of the acts before really got into the opportunity to be at Penn State, be in Beaver Stadium, first concert. So I think all in all, big success. Can we do better? Yeah, I think so.
What's next?
What are some of the things that you learned? I'm sorry, and follow up on what Greg said. how aggressively are you going to pursue doing more concerts?
Well, let me answer the last question. We absolutely will pursue another concert for next year. That's not completely in our control in terms of who's available, who will schedule us, those kinds of things. But we certainly will get after that. The things we learned were more about logistics, we've got a facility that has some challenges from an infrastructure standpoint, and how do we deal with those in a concert setting? So those are the takeaways for us.
When you look at someone like Saquon Barkley, obviously the national attention, I think you get to spend a good amount of time with him in different settings. What impresses you most about him as a person?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it is. Here's a young man who's being touted as a Heisman Trophy candidate, as the best this, the best that, from a football perspective, and he is just an incredibly humble young man, very focused on his academics, very focused on engaging with everything that Penn State has to offer, it's a real joy to be around. Obviously, that great smile that you all comment on all the time. That's the window for the world into Saquon Barkley. Is his approach, his attitude, and his humble approach to this whole thing.
Jim Delaney applauded the culture at Penn State. You know that word has been kind of used in a negative tone a lot in the last 5 years. You've been very aggressive in kind of trying to turn that around. What did it do to you to hear him say that?
Yeah, it's we do have a great culture, and the world needs to know that. That's why I've been aggressive about. That's an important word to organizations and institutions. So to have that word have a negative connotation, to me, it was really important that we turn that around. And certainly appreciative that Jim Delaney recognized that publicly yesterday.
What does the new TV deal mean to Penn State in terms of money?
Well, it's certainly an opportunity for us to continue to invest in our student athletes, whether it's around student development or things like cost of attendance. It's an opportunity for us to invest in our facilities. Also, President Barron announced, I don't remember what the timing was, probably sometime early spring, that up to $4 million of that on an annual basis would be invested into campus. Mental health for students in general, our Blue Band, student scholarships, and I believe the other one was the Arts and Arboretum Cultural Center. So we're, as an athletic department, thrilled to be able to make those kinds of investments and contributions to campus. And then obviously the resources are going to help us do what we need to do to fulfill our vision of preparing students for a lifetime of impact.